Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Suzanne Ensman from the University of Tampa, who will be talking about a game for change, a way home.
Thank you. So welcome to Florida, sunny Florida. First, before I begin, I'd also like to extend a warm thank you to Dr. Amy Norden for helping me shape my presentation today. If you haven't been to one of her workshops, I strongly encourage you to go visit her. Her insightful approach to presenting is truly inspiring. So I suspect many of us have something in common in this room. Technologists, academics, gaming and education, perhaps. I also suggest that maybe we're educators all trying to solve problems. If we just connect the circuits, we can win the game to fix the world's problems. I have experience with two of these issues in the world: children's rights and gaming and education. By connecting the circuits is how I began leading Learning for Change. I created a serious game for social change prototype. To introduce you to the content, I need to share with you that I am a survivor of domestic violence. It's not the topic for today. That's the topic for a different conference. But I share that with you to set the stage for the content of my game. These were the inspiration for my game, my children. When I escaped the abusive relationship with their father, we were court-ordered to exchange at a police station to protect me. The children didn't receive any protection. Although they could clearly articulate their needs and fears from this age, they were not listened to. They were simply divided like the furniture in the divorce. The emotional trauma that they experienced was deplorable, to say the least, and no law in the location where I was residing would help me to help improve their lives. But this story is no longer about them. If just half of the divorces in the United States have the average of 2 children, there are over 1 million children involved in a family law case each year. Add in multiple children per family, or factor in the staggering number of 2 million children born out of wedlock that may be involved in a custody battle, and then add in the element of domestic violence, and the need for a voice for the children is staggering. I taught my children, if we do nothing with the experiences that you went through, it's for nothing. We have the opportunity to improve children's lives in the future. We also have the responsibility now that we know. Because children's lives don't have to end in turmoil. In fact, the United States was instrumental in creating the beginning stages of the creation for a treaty for the basic human rights of children. The United Nations created this treaty in 1989, and it listed such rights as right to a family, right to an education, right to nutritional food, right to have friends, the right to play, and right to express themselves. There are 54 articles in this treaty. It's called the Convention on the Rights of the Child Treaty, CRC for short. Article 12 says all children have the right to all proceedings affecting them. The United States is the only country left that has not adopted this treaty. The adoption of this treaty would have made the difference for my children. Rogers' diffusion of innovation theory suggests in order to begin change, we have to educate and impart knowledge. How would I get this knowledge out? How could we diffuse this information, disseminate the need? The same content, the same inspiration for my content became the same inspiration for my methodology in the delivery vehicle. These 2 boys, actually now in their 20s, my sons, became the usability testing team for my game. But when this one was in 7th grade, the younger one, he would come home from school, the internet was just coming about, we'd have those old square box computers, and he'd get on the computer and I'd say, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing a game." "What game?" "To learn about the cell." "I'm playing a game to learn about that history lesson." "Wait, you're playing to win? That sounds a whole lot more fun than studying to learn." So I brought this into my adult education program to see if gaming and education was a universal concept. In fact, gaming in education is a natural, motivational way to learn, and it spans across all ages. Research reflects that it improves focus, learning cognition, and can even motivate players to take action. It could be the way that I could disseminate the information at an exponential rate. Many of you here might know of Darfur is Dying, a serious game to teach about the crisis refugee issue in Western Sudan. Downloaded over 2.4 million times, I suggest gaming and education may be the perfect delivery method. So I modeled my game after this game first, iCivics, spearheaded by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. She was trying to get our children in the country understanding the government and the laws and our amendments. The first one I looked at was, do I have a right? 150,000 educators have downloaded this and are using this in their classrooms. The second game I used to model my prototype after was designed by the European Commission, Europa. It was designed specifically to teach about the CRC in countries where the treaty had been adopted. It was also designed as an exogenous game, which means that it was the reinforcement theory. So players would play kind of like Words with Friends or Angry Birds. Players would play for points or for recognition. But gaming and education actually even goes beyond learning. As I mentioned before, it can change attitudes of players and cause them to take action based on the cause, such as Games for Change organization, which promotes these types of games. So I developed my game. Thanks to Dr. Beatros, it became a choose-your-own-adventure type design. I also looked for research and expertise in the field, many here today at this conference. Dr. Justice, I know I have to thank, and several led me to focus on the gaps that the games that were available and what I could create in order to share the purpose. So I looked at gaps such as iCivics games teaches about the United States citizen and the rights that they have based on the national amendments. My game would look at the children based on the rights they have based on global treaty. The Europa game looks at an exogenous design to teach about the CRC treaty in countries that already have the treaty adopted. My game would be an endogenous game so that players would actually experience and simulate the benefits of adopting the CRC. I added some elements to help the player along. So for example, on each scene, the players can click on a CRC icon to see the list of human basic rights all children should be afforded. Or they can click on a GPS navigational element to figure out the way around the game. And in each scene, they have the opportunity to take action, to escape out to resources, to literally take action. The storyline evolved, but I used Twinery, a web-based software, to connect all the intersections. So at first it started out quite linear and evolved into a blossom network of intersections, impermeable network after this view. The main characters came to me because I began by crowdsourcing to find the real-world scenes. 9 main characters are in the actual prototype, but they all implored the same message, the need to be heard, and that they wanted to be in a location where they felt safe. That's how the name of the game evolved, A Way Home. The first level is quite simple, basically, about a player or a character looking to see what are my rights? What are the differences between rights and responsibilities? What are the differences between choices and consequences? And tips for communicating effectively to adults. The second level goes back to the crowdsourcing. It brought in the real-world scenes. So for example, this scene has the story of the boy who hid the restraining order in his sock. The persona of the characters took on a different look. So my game, initially designed for in the classroom, expanded to outside of the classroom walls. The next level has a family where the children are begging the mother for help. That family actually escaped for political protection and received political asylum from another country. Real world story. So the game is over when the players make a decision that winds them incarcerated or injured. 145 children last year died at the hands of abuse or neglect just in Florida. I suggest these are real-world endings with real-world scenarios. You win when the children are heard. Just the first step, but the end of the game. So my game for social change teaches does three things. One, it introduces the CRC, specifically Article number 12 for the first round. It raises awareness for the need of adopting the CRC in the US. And it motivates players to take action. But leading learning for change doesn't happen in a silo. It takes a lot of us, and I need you. I need you to share this information if it's something new that you've heard today. I encourage you to take my 2-minute survey. Give me feedback. I've developed the prototype, but I need your help to get it to the development stage. If you have any ideas, please contact me. I will tell you, I saw an article just last month in the Global Health Journal, which talks about the benefit of adopting the CRC, not just to save lives, but also empowers children and it builds their self-efficacy. I encourage you to get involved. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for being here. Yes.
Any questions for Dr. Ensman?
Yeah.
I was wondering what software program you used to make the prototype.
Mm-hmm.
And also my second part is that URL, is that where you can play it?
Yes, so if you go into the survey, at the end of the survey, it gives you the option to play it. And you can click all the way blank through if you don't want to answer the survey and just play it. That's okay too, or go back to the survey. The software I used is Twinery, only it'll create an HTML code, but you have to have a little bit of understanding of HTML because then you have to save it somewhere and upload it to a server, which is what I did. Okay.
One more in the back.
Yes.
What is the reward system in this game?
The reward system, good question. There are XP bonus points, great question, for experiential learning. That was recommended by some of my testers. But at the prototype level, that's all it is. They won XP points. There's no, oh, I know, actually, the XP points throughout the game, it's the prototype, it's given some directions to the developers that they're intended to be like armory, so that they could gain different clothes and different armor to wear throughout the game. I've understood that that's an XP point that players will appreciate. Anyone?
Thank you.
Thank you.